Because of the following special program, Wonder Woman and the Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. This is Making Tracks. Here are your hosts, Mark Newbold and Dave Tree.
That's not true. That's impossible.
You're listening to episode 16 of Making Tracks. I'm your co-host Mark Newbold, and joining me as always for the first show of 2019. Can't believe it's 2019 already. Dave, do your intro. I know you spent months working on this one.
Welcome to 2019. The year of what? The year of many things. You know, we got a new Star Wars film that's coming, Celebration this year. There's a lot to look forward to in 2019. So, hello everyone, it's Dave calling from the darkest depths of the New Forest as we speak at the moment. It is looking very grey and gloomy outside. It might even be raining, but I'm not in the dungeon, but I don't have any Nestle Pure Still Life water. Sadly, they did not renew their sponsorship for 2019. We'll be looking for a new sponsor, and if you're interested in sponsoring this fine, established, award-winning podcast...
Award-winning? Have you made up an award?
Yeah. I think it needs one. Get in touch. But anyway, I'm waffling because I've just literally been waiting with bated breath to do another one of these shows.
Yes.
Mark, what's new? Come on, talk to me.
What's new? Well, we're not sponsored by that water company anymore, but I can say, even though it's mid-afternoon and it is grey outside and horrible, I am actually drinking a bottle of Newcastle Brown Ale, which is terrible. But
wow.
Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone.
It's 10:30 in the morning.
Well, somewhere in the world it is. Although actually, it's actually 3:45. Can it be 10:30 in the world somewhere at the moment? I don't know. Does it work like that? I don't know. I've not got a very good handle on time, as my wife would remind me often. Things are good. We had a good Christmas. Things went well. It doesn't even sound right saying 2019. It doesn't feel... 2019 feels like the future, doesn't it? It doesn't feel like now. It's still 1996 for me. It's not 2019. That's just wrong.
I find it very difficult to get my head around things most times. The moment I do get accustomed or adjusted to writing, in the case of dates, you know that's when they then go ahead and change it. As a result, I shy away from any such conformity and just make up my own time date rules, which, similar to as Ruth reminding you of that, many of my friends will probably attest to saying that that's probably quite true for me as well. So it is weird. The bit that kind of blows my mind is ultimately, and this is very cynical, but it is just another day, right? There's no do-over. There's no pot of gold. Banks aren't saying, here, we'll give you all this money. There's not all of a sudden your health takes a turn. But what I find incredible is the amount of positivity people have the moment that there's a new year. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But it's just another day. It makes no difference. You could have made those changes at any other point. And it just goes to show you the power of positive thinking as a whole, as a concept, that people all of a sudden, they literally just become very upbeat and very optimistic. All because... it's just a date change. There's nothing else that, you can't put it down to your finances or your health or, there's nothing's changed. And you think, well, if you could just do that on a daily basis, this place would be incredible. But I digress.
You're absolutely right, though. I'm a victim of that. I'm a terrible, pathetic, lame victim of that. Because as soon as we get into December and all of a sudden there's chocolate on the tree, even though I forgot to put the tree up this year, but that's another story. And there's all these mince pies and all the other malarkey that's around, and we've still got Christmas cake in the tin and all the good stuff that's there, and it doesn't help my own dietary situation. That's not good, but it does certainly inspire me to try and do better. Yeah, you're right. There's no reason why I couldn't start doing that on September the 10th or April the 4th or whatever. It can be any time, can't it? But I hate the fact that you're right, Dave, but you're absolutely right. And I feel shamed because I didn't realise this before. I could have made the change. I feel like that Michael Jackson song. I could have made the change any time, but I didn't. I had to wait for some pathetic, lame, fake date to make me think, Mark, get off your fat, lazy ass and do something about it. But there we go. I've got to be hard on myself.
That wasn't where I was coming from. Where I was coming from.
But it's where you took me, Dave. It's where you took me.
But where I was coming from was literally, it's all about what's in your mind and how you look at things. It is a case of just literally your outlook and your perspective can define how you approach things. And within this, the only thing that changes is literally a number. There's nothing else, but people become so much more upbeat. It's a really good thing. But I think, sadly, it shouldn't just be confined to that. You should always just believe that, yeah, actually, I want to do better. I want to make some changes. I want to achieve this in my life. I want this podcast to win lots of awards and, have a new sponsor for 2019.
A new sponsor will be fantastic.
Hi, this is Gareth Edwards, director of the best standalone Star Wars film since Caravan of Courage, called Rogue One. You're listening to Fantha Tracks. Enjoy.
Speaking of numbers, episode 9, Seamless Link, episode 9 is coming out later this year, December the 20th. What are your hopes? What are your fears? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking about episode 9 right now?
So, we were talking about being optimistic and stuff like that. My fear with episode 9, you've got so much expectation placed on Star Wars, any Star Wars release. And I think that the last 15 months have been kind of dashed a little bit because we had huge anticipation for Last Jedi. And whilst that might not have been as high as for The Force Awakens, it was certainly, I would have argued, higher than for Rogue One and for Solo. Met with a little bit of a Marmite response. Some people loved it, some people not so much. I think we've been plagued more than any other period since Disney have taken over with like this division going on within the sort of Star Wars fandom that may have had an effect on Solo. I don't think anybody's ever really, from the powers that be is going to go on the record and say that because, it's more than their job's worth. But you could say that it had a part to play in it amongst several other reasons. As a result of that, I think, things have kind of like been sort of like tempered down a little bit. From what I see as someone who sells toys, you can see that in a slowdown of sorts with the sale of action figures in particular. And then even with like other products like Lego and other associated merchandise like gaming as well, because we don't just do purely action figures, but like we do like clothing, we do merchandise, so like homeware, giftware, we do like fantasy flight stuff, so all like the X-Wing. So you have just seen a bit of a slowdown in general in terms of the reception towards stuff, which isn't worrying. It's just needs a little bit of breathing space to kind of like bring it back up again. It's not the first time that Star Wars actually has kind of gone through all of that as a phase. Only a few years ago, this sort of similar anticipation was all around the 3D releases of the films at theatrical level.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And Phantom Menace didn't really hit the expectation that was thrust upon the merchandise side of things. And this is what a lot of people don't realise. This is not the first time it's happened. The 3D reception to that, Hasbro in particular, really didn't get the numbers that they were hoping for in terms of merchandise sales there. And there was a bit of a slowdown. It was popular, don't get me wrong, because this is where people get it, think that there was like a complete abandonment. There wasn't, but it wasn't as big as they thought it was going to be. You saw in their product releases huge hangover of stuff for ages, and then you had the Disney acquisition, and then it was even worse because they had stuff that they were already committed to making, which was to then tie in with what would have been the 3D release of Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. And you saw Lego releases themed to those movies, even though there was no film to kind of back it up. But they couldn't stop it at that point. They'd already committed to doing it. So you just need a little bit of time, consolidate, figure out what you're going to do, and then you build back up to it. So that's not too bad. What to expect? I don't know. I'm actually more looking forward to the TV series that is on the horizon more than anything else. But how about from yourself? Because I'm talking about it from someone who's a retailer of stuff. Mark, you're different in the sense of that you're very much connected from writing articles for all the different publications. What's your feeling?
I get the sense that they're going to throw the kitchen sink in it. I know Jedi famously had a kitchen sink in the Death Star battle, but I've got a good vibe about it. I think JJ did such a great job of recapturing the spirit of the original trilogy, and he is a master at that, of getting the vibe and the feel and the sort of the look of it all. So in that respect, I'm enthused. I hope he doesn't go too far down and this is the old trap, isn't it? What's the difference between serving the story and fan service? This is all about making fans happy because, as you mentioned, as a retailer, you want people to buy the toys. Lucasfilm and Disney want people to buy the Blu-ray, the DVD once the film comes out, go and see the film numerous times. It is show business. There's got to be an element of pleasing the fans, but, of course, it's not a greatest hits show. So if Han Solo suddenly turned up alive, I'd be, really? Do you know what I mean? So as much as I'd love to see Harrison Ford play Han Solo again, they went down that path and it worked in the film. Now, if Luke turned up alive in episode 9, that wouldn't surprise me one iota.
No, come on.
Oh.
Give me your thoughts.
Okay.
I know this is a divert, but I'm always interested in this sort of stuff.
In the same way, and this is doubling down on a concept from The Last Jedi, if Luke can force project himself from Acto to Crate and appear to Kylo Ren as a 3D physical entity, convincing enough that he thinks he's there in real time from literally halfway across the galaxy, I don't see any reason why Luke couldn't have been sitting in Ben's hut on Tatooine and be projecting exactly the same image to Rey on Acto. So you're doubling down on the concept, and I'm not a huge fan of that concept, but I think it's a way of keeping Luke involved in a different way in episode 9, or they just go down the Force Ghost route, which has worked in Empire and Jedi. But following the logic that people like The Last Jedi because it made such a big difference and changed things up, why would you want to follow the same processes of the original trilogy and the prequels? You've done something different with The Last Jedi, and again, Luke is... Okay, he was the farm boy. He was the simple, raised in a simple life. Leia was the sophisticate. She was raised in a different way. You could argue that if they'd swapped roles, they wouldn't have prospered in the way that they did. But Luke's obviously world-weary and world-wise, or galaxy-weary, galaxy-wise, however you want to put it. So, for him to be one step ahead of everybody else come episode 9 would not be a surprise to anybody. Yoda, through lack of inertia of the Jedi's by the prequel era, they've become stodgy and stale. The Emperor sees it. He actually says it to Yoda, you've become arrogant, become blind and arrogant. Maybe Luke's smarter than that. I don't know. I just think there's options and really clever things that they can do. I don't know which route they're going to go down, but I'm excited to see what they do.
By that same logic, then, do you think Snoke's still alive? Do you think he could be that same sort of force projection thing? The thing with Luke and Kylo is there had to be some kind of physical engagement, because otherwise every time the sabers clashed, Kylo's just would have gone through Luke's.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So there had to have been some kind of physical pushback in that entity. By the same token, do you think Snoke was actually on that ship? Because he looks a little bit different from Force Awakens to Last Jedi in terms of his physical appearance, in the same way as Luke looks slightly different to how he was on Act 2 as he appeared to Kylo. Is that a hint in itself?
For me, personally, okay, we've got the benefit of hindsight in that we knew a little bit about the Emperor when the first novelisation came out, but we never saw him in Star Wars. Then we saw him in Empire, but it wasn't the Emperor we kind of got to know later on. Then he appears in Jedi, the big reveal, and we learn a bit more about him, but we didn't really learn a huge amount about the Emperor. I don't remember... I'm probably putting my foot in it here. I don't remember Palpatine as a name being mentioned in the original trilogy. I think that came from elsewhere. I know it was in the original novel, but I don't remember it being in... Ewoks are never mentioned in the original trilogy. The name Boba Fett is only said once on screen by Han Solo, There's little things like that you kind of... We're so used to the whole... Everything around the periphery.
It becomes part of it, yeah.
Of course it does. But with Snoke, if Snoke was everything we saw in the films up to the point where Kylo keeps it, this guy's giving it the big speech, all the arrogance in the world, and then Kylo chops him in half, I'm happy with that because I think it's all about elevating Kylo to where he's basically in the position that Vader never got to, because once the Emperor died, within minutes Vader died. So Vader never had the chance to take over the Empire. I mean, you could argue once the Emperor goes down that shaft and blows up, then Vader's the leader of the Empire. For about a minute until he dies, But Kylo's in the position where he's now stepped into that breach. Hux had his little moment when he went for the gun and then put it back in his pocket and didn't go for it, The military's not taken over, but the Knights of Ren or whatever, they've taken over. So I think that was Snoke's part in the story of elevating Kylo to that position. It's whether or not Kylo stays on that path or comes back, or what. Can you redeem a character like Kylo that's done the things that he's done? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out in December, but I think there's lots of options.
I'm convinced Rey's a clone. The whole fixation of her, who are your parents, because that was just a thing that was just asked again and again and again, who are your parents? And it's they're nobody because they don't exist. When she goes down into the sea cave and she just sees an infinite reflection of herself, I read that as in, oh my God, there's loads of her. There is a blueprint out there of Rey that she's all of these things.
Also, when she's looking at a hand and turning a hand around, in the original opening of Force Awakens is Luke's hand falling through space, and they were actually going to go there with that opening.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the thing, and they changed their mind.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
wow.
So that was the thing.
Because I was going to say, if you then go back to Force Awakens, when she picks up the saber, she is
bombarded with memories.
Yeah. So, why is she got that kind of connection? Where you said, the hand, is she part of her cloning is Luke's hand? Is that why he went back to the Empire fight on Cloud City? Yeah, because that was where the hand was detached. That's how I'm reading into it. And I'll be completely wrong. So I had a theory with Solo that Beckett was then going to end up being the new Boba Fett. And that was before Solo came out, and spoiler alert, Beckett doesn't quite make it. But I thought that nothing as topsy-turvy as The Last Jedi can be, who's to say that doesn't actually apply to everything in general? Just because you think what you saw, the young clone of Jango becomes Boba Fett, there's nothing to say that it actually is the same clone or the same person from Attack of the Clones as you see at that point, or with the special editions, the Fett that you then see in A New Hope. I mean, I always loved Jodo Cast as a character.
Yes.
I thought that was a really cool idea of like someone trading off the name of Boba Fett, masquerading, and it's kind of like the Dread Pirate Roberts. Who's to say that Fett couldn't be the same thing? But as much as I love Beckett, and I thought he was one of the best things in Solo, his future is limited by the end of the film. So yeah, I love all like the cool theories, but long and the short of it was all the crazy things that I think of or come up with, they never pan out. I never get the opportunity to go, yes, I called it. That rarely ever happens.
I like being surprised. I miss, talking about how earlier Star Wars days and how, when Phantom Menace came out, there was all the anticipation in the world, and then people weren't satisfied, even though box office wise it did crazy numbers. And then in the gap between Phantom and Clones, I remember I was doing Lightsaber and loads of websites disappeared, people lost interest, and by Sith it was back, and we're in that sort of kind of in that area now. Social media is a very different beast. There wasn't really a social media then. I just wonder how it's going to pan out once we get to the end of episode 9, because it is the last episode, and I think all the way back to the very beginning when Lucas sat down and started sketching out the story of Star Wars and all the little waypoints that he put in there, I sometimes wonder if he wished he hadn't used the word clone. Do you know what I mean? Because it opens so many trapdoors. It's a similar thing in respect to, for example, Star Trek, when they have time travel. They've established time travel is a thing in Star Trek. So you can go and you can have a do-over in Star Trek. But in Star Wars, that wasn't a thing. You can teleport in Star Trek. In Star Wars, that wasn't really a thing. I like the fact that Star Wars is more nuts and bolts, where Star Trek is science, where Star Wars isn't in the same way. Because Trek's been clever. They've hardwired it into the DNA of what the show is. So you can get away with it in Trek. You can do alternate realities and different things. It works. I'm not sure it works in Star Wars. If you could teleport from one side of the galaxy to the other, I'm not sure that's of benefit. Where's the travel? Where's the effort? How do you earn it? And that was my little issue with Luke being able to do that from the Acto to Crate. It just felt like
it kind of changes the dynamic, doesn't it?
Massively.
And brings in a whole new sort of like set of physics that you've never kind of. It's not to say that it never was there. It's never been touched on. And that's the thing that can pee people off a little bit, because it's kind of like the Bobby Ewing in a shower moment. Oh, look, we completely reset everything.
Yeah.
Not that I think they'd ever attempt that, because could you imagine episode 9 starts off, right? And all of that was where Finn was in a coma. From the end of like Force Awakens.
Oh, that would be.
And he wakes up and he's just, they're just escaping Starkiller Base and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, what? That would be amazing.
No, I think the way to make it work with The Last Jedi, the people who love The Last Jedi will be happy if they, again, in my terminology, if they double down and just go for it with that. But by the same token, people who weren't so happy with The Last Jedi and didn't like elements of it, if they really go for it in certain ways, just throw everything at it. It's the last hurrah. It's episode 9. That's it. It's not going to be a double-digit Star Wars saga movie by the sounds of it. That's fine with me as well. It's the old classic Star Wars thing. And it's something that they do with the literature which I'm not so keen on, when they'll sort of say, oh, well, this story, it's a legend of Luke Skywalker. This isn't necessarily what Luke Skywalker did. This is what some random person saw him do, and that's how he remembers it. So, well, that's not telling me a story, is it? That's just that's somebody telling me a story about Luke. That's not telling me a story about Luke. If you see the delineation between the two, I want to read stories of Luke Skywalker's adventures. I don't want to read about what somebody thought they saw. I want to actually see it within the boundaries of a fictional universe. I think they could make episode 9 really special. I like JJ's direction. He knows how to get the best out of his actors, and I think it's going to be really exciting.
It's Tuesday night. Time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. Welcome to making tracks.
I want to take us back to your neck of the woods, Dave. I want to take us to Fordingbridge. For Farthest From 19, it was the evening when we all had our lovely meal, all sat in that in the room in Fordingbridge, and we'd had a lovely Christmas dinner. Well, I certainly did. Too many sprouts. Let's talk about that, the better. And I had just interviewed Ross Sandbridge, and then you called us all up on the stage because we had a special announcement to make for a member of our team. Let's have a listen, and then we'll talk about it after.
So, effectively, Fantha Tracks was started up just over a year ago, and we've all been involved in various different projects and bits and bobs, and we all come from different backgrounds, and we all bring different things to Fantha Tracks. But beyond that, we've got a larger core team of contributors who give, again, similar to the events guys, who give up a lot of time, effort, and energy into putting articles together, helping with other events that we've got going on. We have podcasts, we have a YouTube channel and things like that. And within a very short space of time, it has exploded. And to me, it's genuinely humbling. It's also quite staggering, and it's kind of sort of getting out of control. Now, you all know from first hand how terrible I am. Matt's not much better either. No. Mark is just too nice, and Brian's too mean. Brian's the one you gotta lock away and keep away from people because no filter. But if I pass it over to
the nice guy.
Yeah, to the nice guy.
The me?
Yes.
Are we doing the thing that we talked about doing earlier?
Yes.
Are we asking somebody to come up for their contributions and wonderful help? Martin, can you come to the stage, please? Yes. Right. We've had this thing going on for a while about certain coloured shirts. Well,
the grey shirts.
The grey, yeah. You've unionised yourselves.
Unionised.
Exactly.
Union the grey shirts.
You may have to rethink that because tonight I feel like Amy Andrews now. This is your life. Consider this a marker for future things, but close your eyes and I'll lay your hands and don't read anything into that. Hold your hands out. Put them together. Oh. Now open your eyes.
Yes!
Explain to the world what you're holding.
It's a gold shirt, Zuvio, which is the dream come true. Oh no! Excellent. Oh, thank you.
One of us.
Brilliant.
No, seriously, you've been a revelation, and we love having you as part of the team, and because you've gone above and beyond more than once, that's.
Oh, bless.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Are you feeling really embarrassed and cringy and everyone's looking at you?
Yes.
No, you've got to stay there for 10 minutes.
That's me. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. So, Martin's going to sing now, but
That was Martin Keeler, our YouTube, or your co-producer on the YouTube channel, Fantha Tracks TV, becoming a gold shirt. I mean, he hasn't actually got his gold shirt yet. Well, he kind of has, doesn't he? What did you think of that moment? I thought it was a wonderful golden Fantha moment.
Well, to kind of help put this into context for people who don't really know what the hell
please do
we're talking about or what that was all about. In a nutshell, Fantha Tracks is made up of an elite crack commando squad of Star Wars fans from all different backgrounds and areas of specialism, but fundamentally it's managed by yourself, Mark, and Brian Cameron and Matt Booker, and then way down the scale I'm kind of there, but
lies
and all bits and bobs and pieces and stuff like that. What's been achieved in the space of just over a year has just been insane. It really has, and the level of output from everybody that contributes to Fantha Tracks as a whole has just literally just floored me. From the amount of news that goes out, the amount of articles that are written, the amount of reviews that are done, absolutely second to none as far as I'm concerned. But with that, it does come with a few problems that it grows so quickly, and you kind of need the right people in the right areas to like kind of help manage and things like that. And Martin is probably more qualified at running things than any of us.
Pretty much, I would say without a doubt he is. Yeah,
he has been invaluable in like this sort of like process of the year. So whilst he's literally done the bulk of the reviews on Fantha TV, he's helped out in a huge number of other areas as well. So it was really kind of like to kind of acknowledge that and then bring him within that decision-making structure of a core group of folk.
Hello, I'm Warwick Davis, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
Mark, what are you doing at Celebration that is, in my mind, the coolest thing ever to happen?
Ever.
Ever.
That's a tall order at the top. I am very, very pleased to have been asked, and it's something that I did to a certain level at Celebration in London. I was involved with the podcast stage, scheduling and picking the shows and putting them all together and doing the logistics before the show kicked off. But this time round, Reed and Lucasfilm very kindly said, well, would you actually oversee the whole thing? So I'm involved with liaising with all the pods, letting them know what's going on, scheduling, and then on the ground actually being sort of stage managing and making sure everything goes correctly. So yes, so my official title is podcast stage host. So I'm the podcast stage host at Celebration Chicago. And the nicest moment, which I had no idea was coming, was when they actually put my picture on the Celebration Chicago website. So there's Warwick Davis, and there's Amy Ratcliffe and Dave Collins and me, and then Rob Brideau, who's the boss of ILM, and then a few other faces. So that was a very, very nice moment to get, which was cool because they used the same photo that they use in The Insider. Neither of them, I mean, maybe I did because I do a lot.
Neither of them are you.
Well, no, no, they're good pictures. They don't get the chin in, so it actually kind of looks like me as I should be pre-Christmas. So I've got some work to do. But I was trying to walk on stage and nobody know who the hell I am. But no, they use the same picture in both. But my preferred picture now, and this isn't a knock, but my preferred picture now is the picture of me in my Fantha Tracks hat when I went to Finch last year when I was covered in snow. Yeah. But then I suppose I've got a Fantha Tracks logo, you see, and I've got to I've got to keep the two separate, haven't I? I've got to be kind of vaguely professional. So anyway, very kind of you to say so, Dave. Yes, I'm thrilled to bits with that. And so far, touch wood, well, MDF, it's going very well. I'm sure they'll be scheduling things, because it's the nature of these things. You get some people, because it's a 5-day show now, so some people can't be there Friday and some people can't be there Monday. You know what I mean? And there's all those things. But we'll make it all work. It'll be fun. As long as people have fun and they get their podcast done and they've got a bit of audio to take away, everybody will be peachy. So it's all good. But yes, thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It should be fun. And it's only about 90 days away. It's coming around really quick.
Just a nod to any potential sponsors out there.
Yes.
The head of the podcasting stage only does one podcast, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For now.
For now, yeah. We have plans. We do have plans. But yes, right now as we speak, just one.
As of this afternoon, there is an open spot. Fantha Tracks will be there as well, and we'll have like breaking news and updates as we rapidly approach Celebration. We'll have news and updates in what to expect from like the Fantha Tracks team at Celebration Chicago. So it's looking good. It's looking good. I'm very excited, and it's going to be the real highlight of the first half of the year, I reckon.
Let's go back to Farthest From. I love this. To my recollection, and I think I've done 17 of the 19 Farthest From, so I could be wrong because, it was getting late and I'd had a couple of beers. But I don't remember you... Well, you've done quizzes before. You've certainly never done Blockbusters before.
No, that was definitely a first.
Okay. Well, hopefully it's not a one-off because it was very, very funny. We're going to listen to Blockbusters from Farthest From in a moment. Briefly, for non-British viewers or listeners of a certain age, explain Blockbusters to the rest of the galaxy, please.
Okay, so Blockbusters was a TV show introduced in the 80s. A game show, one team of 2 people and the second team of just being a single individual. And the aim of the game was to get across a game board that was a honeycomb of hexagons with a letter within each hexagon. The 2-player team had to go horizontally, or if you were a single player, you went vertically. They were at the advantage of having to do less hexagons to get the run all the way across versus the 2-player team, but then you had the advantage of 2 people being able to answer. However, as you played the game, if you got the question correct and the letter was always the first letter of the answer that was required. So what P was such and such. A question. Maybe I just need a P. It wasn't as straightforward because if someone got that question right, that hexagon would change to their colour. And so therefore you could block people from that route. So you'd have to map all the way around it. And it had to be consecutive joined up hexagons to actually make the line. So it wasn't always a straight line. These things would become convoluted and become a battle of wits to kind of, a bit of strategy would come in play. It was huge in the UK in the 80s. It was hosted by a chap called Bob Holness and went on for a very, very long time. I don't think it's got a current iteration on
I believe
TV.
It's coming back. I've heard that it's coming back, that they are bringing Blockbusters back. With that,
Is this as a result of what we did?
Possibly. Bob Holness, who we must mention, played James Bond on the radio in the 50s.
So the one I always hear is he was always supposed to be the guy playing the saxophone for Baker Street.
Wouldn't that be brilliant?
No, that was a real. In the advent of Google, it's not true at all. But if you just type in Google Bob Holness Baker Street, it'll come up. And I heard it loads. I don't know why.
I'm Googling it as we speak. I am Googling it as we speak. And when I typed in Bob Holness, it came up and it said sax, Bob Holness sax.
There you go.
I'll just read it out to you. In 1955, he received his first job as a radio presenter, and a year later became, I was wrong, became the second actor to portray James Bond after Barry Nelson in the 1954 TV special Casino Royale. So they did a TV special of Casino Royale in a radio production of Moonraker for the SABC Springbok Radio, so I'm assuming Springbok must be South African. So he wasn't the first, so that's my error, but he did play James Bond on a radio. Baker Street, here we go. Holness was the subject of an urban myth claimed to have been initiated in the 80s by broadcaster Stuart McConey. Brilliant. Writing for the New Musical Express, said Holness had played the saxophone riff on Jerry Rafferty's 1978 song Baker Street. Oh, that's fantastic. But there you go. Talk about going off at a left angle. But yes, that is Bob Holness. That was Blockbusters. Now you're going to listen to the Fantha tracks or the Fantha Day or the Farthest From version, whatever you want to call it, of Blockbusters, brought to you by Dave Tree Productions. This is classic. And
whoa.
Please
hang on. Let's rephrase that. Nothing to do with Dave Tree Productions. It was actually Brian Cameron Productions with a huge amount of help from Richard Hutchinson as well.
Yes.
So I'd like to distance myself from what you're about.
Oh, you're walking away from solid gold here, mate. You really are. You should have just kept stum and claimed it all for yourself. This is priceless.
No, it was genuinely amazing.
It was. And listen to the very end, because the final answer is radio gold. Honestly, it'll take something special to top this as the moment of the year. Jez Allenson, I'm talking to you. Listen to this.
These are all Star Wars related. We haven't had time to vet the questions. We haven't had time to actually try the game to know if it's going to work 100%. So if I could ask Jez and Stu to pop up.
Hey.
So, and again tonight, Jez has made a special trip to come down here. For the last 4 months you've been in Afghanistan?
Yeah, Bristol.
He's been in Bristol for the last 4 months, which is possibly worse than Afghanistan.
Bedminster.
But he's come down here just for you guys.
It's juice and pants.
Yeah. So Gus, if I could get you up as well, please. Oh, look, there we go. So here we go. So it might be actually better if I get you guys to face so you can actually see this incredible piece of work here. Yes, yeah. So, Gus, you'll be going vertically. So you've got the advantage of only needing to get 4 in a line, but it could be blocked by any of the guys. Where they're a team of 2, they've got to get 5 across. Okay. But if you get the right answer, you get to fill that colour. So we spent a lot of money on this, and we got some buzzers in the form of their own vocal cords.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is, when you know the answer, you just literally put your arm up and go, or whatever. Oh no, we have got some buzzers. Look.
yes.
What are you doing? Just raise the lights.
Yes. Yeah. Look at that. So we got some lightsabers. That's how we're going to actually run this. Like I said, this could be. We've left this to right at the end of the evening, so hopefully you're either asleep or drunk. Just in case it didn't quite work. We've got Brian, the quiz master.
The questions are all extremely easy for these guys.
Well, even better. If we start with Gus, and Gus, pick a letter.
Okay.
A. If you need translations.
They make it difficult.
You asked the question, is it still the first answer? Or is it...
Yeah, so whoever buzzes it.
Go, girls.
Which A is General Hux's name, first name?
Oh, which A is the first letter of General Hux's name?
It's not bad. What? No.
Think. All right, a little bit of a clue. Think of toilets.
Oh, I know.
Sabre.
Aramark.
No.
Can I have something guess wrong?
No. See, he is the harsh one.
Gus ain't gonna get that one.
Armitage. So American Standard.
He doesn't. Oh, neither team get the point. Okay. Oh.
Which township, beginning with A, did Luke suggest Ben Kenobi get a transfer to Mos Eisley from?
Gus. Way! We got our first one. So, Martin. Oh! It does work. Okay, so how do we go from there? Does it go back to...
Gus chooses.
Oh, Gus chooses.
Into any letter? Or has
Yes.
Or do I have to pick one that's...
No, you can. So the object is for you to get a line as quick as possible.
Yes. So let's go left.
Which droid, beginning with the letter F, has 9 arms?
Yeah, Jess.
Jez.
FX7.
Yeah.
Denied.
Look at that. We need sound effects. All right, so that goes to.
Which H is the surname of a heroic resistance admiral?
So which H is the surname of a heroic resistance admiral? Oh. Where's Wally? No, it's not Wally, is it? It's Waldo.
Yes.
Where's Waldo?
Come on.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
Waldo. Anyone?
Even I knew this one.
Holding on to what?
Hold on. Hold on.
Hold the door. Hold the door.
Back to another H.
Vintage rebellion.
Which H is the capital planet of the New Republic, destroyed by the First Order?
Wow.
You was taking the mic. You was an absolute embarrassment.
Come on. It's a bit like what
Which
you put in
H?
Chinese restaurant food.
Alright. Which H is the capital planet of the New Republic that was destroyed by the First Order? It's in the film.
They're not vintage questions, that's the problem.
That's it.
Come on.
That's it.
Bosnian Prime.
Yes.
Bosnian Prime.
It's on the tip of my subconscious.
Alright.
Which H describes a Tatooine dwelling?
The last.
Blah. Yes!
Homestead.
Alright, back to Gus to choose a letter.
B.
B.
Which B is a Gungan's favourite weapon?
Gus.
I would say bomb bad. No.
Quizmaster Brian is very harsh. Very, very harsh.
Try again. Ball bag. Ball tag.
Don't look at me.
I'm harsh, so it's a big booba.
Boomer.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's a big movie. Another big.
This is an easy one. On the here. Which bee always rides in a single file?
Gosh.
Jazz was there.
Jazz.
Yeah, that's it.
Yay!
Tuscan Raiders.
Well, that's what I was thinking. That's
Yeah,
why
I think
paused
that's
and went like
best.
that for a bit. The judge's decision is final.
Go on, what are you going for,
Alright,
Jazz?
this is rebellion. Right,
Single file.
Okay.
No, I said okay.
Oh. C. Oh, we go for O, we go for K.
C.
C.
C. Which C is the first name of Dr. Afra?
Afra. Yeah, I think it's put out.
Alright, okay. Craig.
No.
Gonna go over to Gus.
Drop the C-bomb, Gus.
Kelly.
Chelly Afra.
That was the other one I was going to go
That's
with.
an easy. Last one is C. Which planet was the home planet of Mon Mothma?
Oh.
Take a guess because it's Corellia.
Oh.
Over to your T.
Yeah, go on. Carson.
No.
Chandler.
Yeah.
Oh, look at big balls over there.
Vintage. It's vintage.
Now down to a very easy question, so hope you get this one.
Yeah.
Which C was the highest ranking officer aboard the Tantive 4?
Captain.
Yes.
Yay! We went for it.
Captain Antilles.
Oh.
Yeah.
So choose a letter, Gus.
Which M is the name of the Rancor keeper?
Wait!
That was Gus. Gus with the lightsaber.
Hey! What?
No, wait! He hasn't used his buzzer! He didn't use his buzzer! He just... Travesty.
Yeah. What letter are you going to go for, Gus?
Yes.
S.
Could go with the first one, which would be controversial. What S is the name of the company who made the Star Wars ceramic range from 1980?
Stu.
That's a pundit question.
Yes!
Oh. Denied.
That's planted.
Sigma.
Oh.
Sigma Cowan.
That is planted.
Shot it.
Who rattled this cage?
So, Vintage Rebellion.
What O is a species of Max Rebo?
He's a jizz whaler.
No, he's not.
So, why are you two guys looking over there rather than conferring with each other?
I know.
Because they're useless.
What's the answer then, Rich?
Oh, look, he doesn't know. It's a pretender.
Yeah.
You are absolute disgrace.
Ortolan. Next one on O. What O completes the designation of C-3PO Class 3 Protocol?
Come on, Jez.
Oh, I'm harsh. Something. What did you say?
Operation.
No,
it's not.
What C-3PO actually stands for? I didn't actually ever know this.
Protocol.
Look at that. So, Vintage Rebellion. Look at that.
Go hard or go home, lads.
At some point.
Hey, go on, Jez.
First Which on the right. Character, beginning with the letter P, has their initials carved in Oberish into Orimarco, a character from the 2010 Hasbro Village Collection line?
Princess Leia.
No. It's prune face.
Prune face.
Yeah, prune face.
Oh my god, I just said that as a joke.
I thought you called it P again. Go for P again. Which P is a species of alien played by George Lucas in Revenge of the Sith?
He's having a meltdown. Boyism. Pan?
Vivid. Has this got anything to do with the hair and the nose?
No, just think of under E's. Pantaloon.
I'm just picturing you in undresses now, man.
No, it's Pantoran. Last P.
Last P.
What P is the name of an adolescent Force user?
Yes.
Another one?
Come on, Gus.
Come on, Gus.
Yes.
Vintage Rebellion. Pick a letter.
R, please.
What R was Rey's casting call name for The Force Awakens?
Red cup?
Oh, red.
Cool.
No, Red Force Awakens.
Yeah, I know the Gus. I would never have known this in
If you
this.
let it cast and clue stuff, you can
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
clue stuff.
yeah.
There's signage and everything.
He's got the name badge. He's got the jacket.
What R was Rey's casting call name for The Force Awakens?
Richard?
Rachel.
Rach?
L.
Come on, lads.
What L is the class of shuttle that Rebels strike team used to get on Endor?
Jazz.
Lambada?
Strictly come down.
Over to Gus.
Lambda class.
Yes. But I kind of like the Lambada shuttle.
I thought you had it here, Jess.
I know, I thought I had it.
That was a pressure.
Yeah.
Jeremy had a teammate down there.
It's my first beer in 4 months.
Jeremy let him down.
So, the 2018 Blockbusters winner is Gus Lopez. Who gets to drink 5 shots of Jägermeister.
That was just literally the perfect way to end that evening.
It was.
And Jez Allenson, who you heard there, so that you had the Vintage Rebellion team of like Stuart Skinner and Jez Allenson. Jez Allenson is also known as the running stormtrooper who's done a huge amount of work for Make-A-Wish. But the Lambada shuttle will be...
Popular myth. You think Bob Holness played saxophone on Baker Street? Next time you watch Return of the Jedi and tell somebody sitting next to you, that's a Lambada shuttle, they named the dance after that, and see how far that goes.
It was quite phenomenal. You know, I mean, I remember the video of that, of like these 2 little kids doing the sexy dance. You know, you could just imagine them coming down the ramp. You know, there's things like that. You know, just going up the whole like Death Star corridor with a parade of stormtroopers either side. You know, like it's like very weird, very very strange video. I'm the youngest of 3, so my musical tastes are influenced by like my older sisters, who are 6 and 8 years older than me. So they were very much into all of that. I mean, I'm only 21.
Yes,
anyway,
yes, I saw the photograph of you at Empire Day in '96. You were definitely only 21.
But like the Lambada shuttle, I'm gonna have to take to Photoshop.
You must.
And
just remember, it docks in the Disco Star. Remember that it docks in the Disco Star.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I like it.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, a Star Wars fan, Fantha Tracks fan.
We need to get out of this episode, Dave, because we've had a wonderful opportunity to ramble, but now we're making no sense whatsoever. So I think we should go. We will be back for episode 17 in 2 weeks' time. We're going to have loads of other stuff because it's Star Wars and there's always things happening. We'll just talk, Dave. We'll just talk more. But until then, for the next 2 weeks, when people are pining for us, where can they find you?
You can find me. Come find me at All the Cool Stuff, which is a toy retailer on the edge of New Forest in Hampshire. You'll be able to find us online at allthecoolstuff.co.uk or on Facebook as All The Cool Stuff, or you can directly reach us through the Fantha Tracks website or even on our YouTube page, which is Fantha Tracks, where we host like Fantha Tracks TV from there. If you don't already, please subscribe. If you think it's nuts now, it's going to get an awful lot more crazier. That's where you can find me. Mark, how about yourself? If I'm searching the web,
yes,
and I have a sack of gold that is dying to sponsor a podcast,
yes,
where would I find you?
You find me on Twitter at prefect_timing. You'll often find me at Fantha Tracks itself, noodling around on the website and doing stuff I probably shouldn't. Certainly doing stuff I shouldn't on the Twitter feed, like liking Toffo tweets and stuff. That's me. So, but apart from all of that, I've got stuff in the next issue of the Star Wars Insider and the next issue of Star Trek, the official magazine, and Starburst magazine as well. So there's stuff out in those. So it's all wonderfully busy and fun. Oh, and StarTrek.com as well. So I'm doing stuff there as well. So it's all good and all busy. And you can leave me silly messages because I like silly messages. I think I deserve many of them. So yeah, that's where you can find me. And you can also find me and you, Dave, on episode 17 of Making Tracks, which is out in 2 weeks' time. Have you got any final words, Dave? Any final words of wisdom, or even a first word of wisdom?
Size Noodles wouldn't be anything without the Rebo band.
I can't top that. See you next time, everyone.